On this episode, we smoke the San Lotano Dominicano, a collaboration between AJ and Hochi, 5x50 Robusto with an MSRP of $8.50. We're also going to dip into this Brugal 1888 Doblemente Añejado, Dominican rum, and talk about Dominican tobacco growing and cigars. So this is the Dominican episode. I'm your host, Johnny Midas, and you're listening to Burnline Podcast. Burnline Podcast. The burn line on a well-crafted cigar is straight and sharp as a razor, much like our wit and wisdom. What's up, everybody? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages over the age of 21. You're listening to Burnline Podcast, coming to you not live from the hot box, the smoky garage, where deals are struck and fortunes are made, adjacent to the McCann Manor, nestled among the bucolic rolling green hills of the McCann estate. Nick, thanks for hosting us today.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, so cold, rainy, and we are in the transitional studio. We have some black coffee from Bantam.
Bantam, yep.
Yep, Bantam coffee. We're in Gettysburg right now, so it's absolutely gorgeous, typical, South Pennsylvania green, but it's also raining, which is kind of typical for this area and time of year.
Middle of October.
Yeah.
The day after Friday the 13th.
Yeah, so we've got this awesome cigar. Can't wait to get this clipped and lit. And then we've got a care package from Fat Boy Cigars, so can't wait to tear that open. And then we're gonna get drunk on this Dominican rum. So looks pretty awesome.
What a treat! We're gonna be doing a whole lot in the next hour.
Oh yeah. So we are smoking the San Lotano Dominicano, 5x50 Robusto. And this is a cigar with a Brazilian Cuban seed wrapper. This is a pretty dark wrapper, dark side of natural, or maybe the light side of
Oscuro or something like that.
Yeah,
it's super. I don't know, man. It's kind of marbled. Yeah, like some black spots.
Yeah, it is really attractive. Like, it grabs your attention, and it's slightly fuzzy,
rough, textured.
Yeah. Like that. Absolutely gorgeous presentation. So the box is lacquered blue, and this is like I don't know, some kind of marine blue.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, deep sea.
Yeah. With red and gold. Just stunning. The band is beautiful. It's got the AJ and Hochi band underneath the main band, which looks like a San Lotano band with the color scheme carried over. It's got the little red ribbon at the bottom that says Dominicano, and has the red, white, and blue flag color banners that kind of turn into like a wrap around the back with, premium tobacco.
Yeah.
There.
I wonder what the portrait is of. I'll look that up.
Yeah, it's some kind of like building, multi-story. Looks like there's a horse-drawn wagon in front.
Yeah, it looks like it's in a different time period, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's a screen grab from a John Wayne movie. So, very good-looking cigar and great packaging and branding. And a little surprising because it has a sub $9 MSRP. But it looks nicer than that, to be honest with you. So
sub $9 nowadays is
cheap,
phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean,
fantastic.
anything that's not double digits anymore is like a value cigar.
Yeah,
And so fair warning to our listeners: these are pretty much sold out. I mean, we just got on right before recording this, and all of the major outlets that I'm familiar with, back order, unavailable for order, out of stock. So grab them if you can. And we're going to smoke this and kind of give you our thoughts. I've already smoked more than one, many of them. We usually do that to prep for the show and make sure that regardless of what happens on the show, we have a kind of a more balanced report out for you guys. There's some exceptions, like the Opus X. I can't afford to be smoking, smoking a whole bunch of those.
Sorry, honey, I have to do it for the show.
Anyway, so we're here surrounded by our Burnline accoutrement. I've got our custom Burlwood ashtray and cigar holder, our golden Phantom of the Opera cigar smoking Johnny Midas statue. We've got this care package from Fat Boys. Can't wait to break into that. Our gourmet Bantam coffee. This awesome looking rum.
Yeah.
And it better be because it was kind of expensive.
Yeah.
And we're going to kind of talk about the Dominican Republic and, these delicious vices that we're about to enjoy, So I think it is time to clip this cigar.
Let's go.
I have got my double guillotine closed back Perdomo, and you've got something similar from Drew Estate. And the official cutting is brought to you by Fat Boy Cigars. The bold and delicious flavors of premium hand-selected tobacco leaves are highlighted in the original Jacked cigar by Fat Boys Cigars. And don't forget to try the Fat Boys Cigars Boots on the Ground series. For every cigar you purchase in this series, Fat Boys Cigars will donate $1 to charities benefiting our frontline heroes. Fat Boy Cigars, welcome to the Fat Boys world. And 3, 2, 1. And we remind you, as always, to clip that cigar with authority. No limp-wristed cutting allowed. Now we're just going to pack the cap, the part that we're putting in our mouth. Get that loose tobacco out. Dude, that's so cool. When I see like that tobacco come out, I'm like, that was going to be on my tongue,
Yeah, that was breakfast.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Kind of loose compared to the last one. Last cigar we smoked. Got quite a bit more.
Are you? I didn't get any off this one.
Oh, yeah?
There was like nothing.
Did you actually clip it? Oh, you forgot to clip it. That's why. You're just tapping the cap.
This isn't even this is a chocolate bar. It's not a cigar.
All right. That looks great.
Mm-hmm. It does. It really does.
Okay. Oh, I'm going to light with this. I brought my electrician's torch in. So this is a 90-degree butane torch that I use for like heat shrink and stuff. And watch out.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Is the tank big?
I don't know how big the tank is. It's hard to tell because it doesn't have a.
Does it run out of fuel pretty quick, or because I mean that's a pretty powerful.
I've never refilled it in like 2 years.
What?
Yeah, but I'm not an electrician for a living, so I don't use it that often. But I thought it was cool. It's very precise.
Yeah.
All right, so we are toasting these cigars up. And we remind you, as always, toasted, not roasted. Maximize your cigar smoking enjoyment by gently toasting the cigar. Or you could just stick the end in a fucking charcoal furnace and call it a day. Man, I hate that. Look at my cherry.
Look, some parts aren't.
When you miss the 1 millimeter that's right on the side.
Yeah. Yes.
That's the worst.
Yeah, because then
if it's in the middle, it combusts pretty quick.
But the touch up is because you're like, oh, I'm hitting the wrapper here. Yeah. Like it's
yeah. Oh, sweet Jesus! I'm telling you, this cigar hits from the first draw if you toast it right, and it is strong. If you like to retrohale, you're going to definitely feel it on this one. But it's one of those interesting cigars where I think the nicotine strength is like mid-full. I think the body is full, but it's also like smooth.
Oh, wow.
So it kind of like sneaks up on you. Does that make sense?
Cuban seed Brazilian wrapper.
Yeah.
So we do Matafina. We've talked about Matafina, I think, and we've talked about Arapiraca.
Yep.
But I've never, this is a weird.
I don't know what that means.
Cuban seed Brazilian.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we don't know what the difference between Matafina, Arapiraca, and Cuban seed Brazilian are.
Well, because when they say Cuban seed, what they mean is someone smuggled seeds out of Cuba.
Correct.
And they planted them in Brazil.
Correct.
But what seeds? Like,
yeah,
there's a lot of different tobacco types.
It's like, yeah, I mean, I guess like it's like Criollo. It's one seed now. Criollo, Criollo, and Corojo.
Best hybrid ever.
Yeah, Criollo.
The Criollo. We just invented that.
Yeah.
Patented and copyright. Birdline Podcast.
You're welcome, AJ.
Yeah. So, and honestly, like, I don't mean this in a negative way, but it's definitely a marketing thing in the cigar industry to say Cuban seed.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you'll see Cuban seed, fill in the blank, Cuban seed Nicaraguan. It's like, yeah, the seeds came over 40 years ago.
Right.
So
this is the 400th generation of.
Yeah. And it's been hybridized, so that's why I say I don't know what it means. It's like.
Well, I think that's why Aladino and JRE, Julio and Justo Eiroa have kind of this claim to the original Cuban seed where they like have unhybridized it.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting, I think. And I really like their
cigars.
Yeah, their cigars are good. Aladino cigars are good. We haven't done one. We should do one.
We should do an Aladino and an Eiroa. What's the one with like the dark red band? I think it's dark red and silver.
Yeah, I know exactly what that.
Yes.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I think it's
good,
like the Corojo Reserve or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. But we are smoking the San Lotano Dominicano. This is a 5x50 Robusto collaboration between AJ and Hochi. And so I'll say like I guess, what am I, a quarter of an inch in? So we just started smoking this, but talking about the flavor, definitely strong. So it's kind of like peppery on the palate, a lot of earth tones, but also it's got this smooth, like, if you know how they sell those big tubs of mixed roasted unsalted nuts, like for the holidays? You can get the salted ones too, but I always get unsalted.
Yeah.
I feel like if you put that in a blender, the paste that came out, it's like a nut paste.
Okay.
Like there's some flavor of that.
Okay.
Like it's not a specific nut that I'm tasting. It's not, this is black walnut, but it's like nutty and buttery at the same time.
Nut paste. Nut paste is a new one. Nut paste is a new one.
So
I'm really curious to see how this is going to pair with the rum, because I know that I have also a bottle of rum with me. That's in St. Kitts, I think, which is just an island in the Caribbean. So not Dominican rum, but the one I have is sweet. It has notes of vanilla.
Right.
And so like I think that's going to go really well with this because there's not a whole lot of sweetness on this cigar. It's very savory bitter.
Yeah.
Type.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
which is probably why I like it so much.
This cigar is like meat and potatoes. There is no.
Yeah.
Like this isn't candy yams, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but I'm surprised how for a cigar like this with notes of primarily like earth and pepper and spice and nuts, it's very smooth and like they fit together really well.
That's the thing, is it's not bitey.
Yeah, it's not bitey.
Yeah. It doesn't, you smoke the cigar and the cigar smokes you. Like this one's like very much a very, very tame version of.
Yeah.
But the flavors are so
bold,
expressive. Yeah.
So I'm doing this thing right now. I'm pulling the smoke back into the very back of my palate and rolling it around at the back of my tongue, because some of your, like the bitter taste buds are kind of on the sides near the back of your tongue. And then I'm pushing out a little bit retrohale and a little bit through my mouth. And you can really play around with this smoke. It's really good. It's not so strong you can't do that. And I was actually thinking of the Padron. Like that was one where, it was strong enough that when I started doing that sort of thing, my nose hairs start singeing, start feeling like I'm about to sneeze kind of thing. I'm not really getting that with this cigar.
You think it's like cooler?
Maybe. Yeah. Could be.
It has a cooler effect. I don't know. But I know what you're saying. It's not, that retrohale is not like spicy attack.
It's not hurting. Yeah. It's not hurting. Wow. So great flavor off of this. And yes, I bought a whole box of these, of which I have like 5 left. All right. So This is a Brazilian Cuban seed wrapper. The binder is Dominican. The filler is Nicaraguan and Dominican. So this is kind of cool. All of the Nicaraguan tobacco in this cigar is from AJ's Farms, and all of the Dominican is from Hochi's Farms. And the cigar is made in Hochi's Dominican factory.
Tabacalera Palma.
Tabacalera Palma.
If you're familiar with La Galera,
Yeah.
that's where they make this stuff. La Galera's Hochi's brand.
Yes. Also, you will notice that it has a Brazilian wrapper. And we mentioned this in the Opus X episode. There are very few Dominican puros, and the Opus X might be the only one right now.
Yeah.
I think it's the only one.
Because of that wrapper, man.
Yeah. So, and we'll talk about this when we talk about like Dominican tobacco. So we're going to jump into that in a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of why that is. So I just thought it was interesting to tie that in, to the Opus episode. So we've got this care package from Fat Boy Cigars. Now this is a cool sponsor hooking us up.
Dude.
And I'm guessing there's cigars in here. We're about to find out. So this is like since you guys are on audio, this is like a 2.5 inch by 5 inch by 9 inch cardboard box.
It's like a little high school football.
Like a little high school football.
Yeah.
It's got this awesome, so Fat Boys has got this packing tape.
I love the tape.
And it's custom.
Yeah.
So it's black. It's got the FBC letters and Crown logo. Super cool. Like, as soon as this shows up in your mailbox or on your porch or whatever, like, I know what's in that box.
Oh, I could spot it from a mile away. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, we're going to make them super popular on this podcast, and then you're going to have porch pirates just looking for that FBC tape. Like, free cigars. I mean, Amazon, you might have, like, toenail fungus treatment. But if it's got the FBC tape, you're getting something good, right?
Yeah, it's some sweet and delicious swag.
Oh, yeah. So we're popping this open. Got some packing paper in here. Oh, this looks like cigars.
I could do shipping tips. It looks like they did a wonderful job packing and shipping the cigar.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about that in a future episode about how to pack and ship your cigar.
And Fat Boys nailed it. So the cigars are wrapped in tissue paper. It's also the black color, like Fat Boys. Mm-hmm. And then it's wrapped in bubble wrap, and then there's paper to absorb impact around that.
Yep.
So a great packaging job. And a little note on there. Thanks for all you guys do. We look forward to the podcast. Please enjoy the Thin Red Line.
Woo!
Oh, wow. Let's take a look. I've been jonesing for this one. All right. I am just carefully opening this so that I don't destroy the cigars. Let's get some of that rustle on the little ASMR for our listeners. There we go. Look at that. So inside, inside the paper is a Ziploc bag with a Boveda pack.
Essential.
I mean, they nailed it.
It's just the little details. It's just the little details, right?
Well, it's from people that know cigars.
Exactly.
That's the difference.
Exactly.
This isn't some 725, person in a warehouse chucking cigars from 3 feet across the room into an open box.
Yeah, dude's 15 minutes away from clocking out, and he's ready to go.
Right. There you go.
Thank you, my friend.
All right.
That is gorgeous.
It is gorgeous. So, and they say Bahique-esque, and it is. Like, even the little clipped pigtail at the top.
656, I think, is the...
656, nice Maduro wrapper. It's got cello. I'm a fan of cello for keeping the cigar clean and the humidity managed. And then around it is a black cotton thread that is holding on this tag that says Fat Boy Cigars, Boots on the Ground Series, Thin Red Line. It is a black tag with a red line with white text. Great branding. Love it.
I apologize. 6.5 by 56.
6.5 by 56. Yep. Okay, that looks juicy. Can't wait to smoke
it.
That.
Looks really good.
Can't wait to smoke that. Thank you, Fat Boys. What a great partnership, and we appreciate you sending these smokes. We are going to enjoy them, and I mentioned this on the collectible cigars series we were talking about on the podcast. If you want to collect cigars, start with the Boots on the Ground series from Fat Boy Cigars.
Yeah.
MSRP of like $750.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of damn tobacco. And the cigars are delicious.
And the cause is
great.
Yeah, it's not going to some corporation making millions of cigars a year.
Right.
Right. They're donating money to, charities appropriate to the reference, right? So the Thin Red Line references.
So yes, $1 to the Fallen Firefighters Fund.
Yep.
For every cigar that you purchase in the Thin Red Line. Yep. So that's just super cool. Love the cause and donating back to the community, that sort of thing.
Wait, I got to show you this. All right, we have to smoke this one too. I think the last one in the series that they just released is called the Patriot. It is a barber pole torpedo.
Ooh,
yeah.
The final boots on the ground. Yep. Oh, I like the white ribbon around the foot.
The footband. It looks awesome.
That does look awesome.
Yeah, it looks really good
with the white thread.
Yep.
Awesome. So thanks for the care package. Anybody else out there that wants to send us cigars, feel free. We are taking and accepting all cigar packages. All right. So I forget, but I saw on their socials as well, they donated, it was like $200 or something.
Oh, yeah.
Last charity.
Let me find it real quick, all right? I just got a text. My barber had an emergency. He can't see me later today.
Oh.
No.
So you're going to continue to look scraggly for a while.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. It looks like I'm shaving my head in my bathtub again. Let me find this message from C&G. Hey, how many unread messages? Oh, Jesus.
No, I keep up with my.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We raised almost $200 that was donated to Fallen Firefighters Charity.
And that's from the Thin Red Line. That is amazing.
Yeah, awesome. That's incredible. Just through cigars.
Like
there's no corporate donation.
Everybody benefits. Yeah. You get an amazing cigar, right? They're selling cigars, and we're supporting fallen firefighters. That's awesome. Other socials. So we had a couple of comments on the podcast. So fans have responded to your Q&A. Podcasters for Spotify. So the Bricktoberfest 2023, got a couple of comments on there. Sounds like a winner. Would love to see paired with a good German beer. Thank you, sir. And awesome info.
I had a couple people come up to me this week too and say, "Hey, you guys maybe want to try that cigar."
Nice.
Yeah. So nice. A couple folks, in person came up to me and said that.
That's pretty cool.
Stopping me in the grocery store and on the street and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, you're Nick from Bernheim. I recognize the voice.
Yeah.
The dulcet tones of Nicholas McCann, CRT. All right, so we are smoking the San Lotano Dominicano, AJ and Hochi. And you might notice, if you're listening, Nick, you're obviously listening because you're trapped in this smoky back room with me.
Tied to the chair.
Tied to the chair. Don't tell anybody.
Jeez, man.
Usually he has to pay for that. But I will mention the cigar we're smoking fairly frequently on the podcast. And I do that because I have listened to other cigar podcasts, and I skip around. I don't necessarily listen straight through, especially the ones that are ungodly long, like 2 hours and stuff. And half the time, I don't know what they're smoking. Like, they'll light it up and say something in the beginning, and then like halfway through, they'll be like, "This is delicious. Notes of toasted walnut." And then the rest of it is like something else. And we do a lot of something else too. But I don't want to lose sight of the actual stick we're smoking, which is a really good stick.
Yeah, and I think that's the focus that we've kind of talked about and wanted to emphasize on the show, is that it's, at the end of the day, it's about the cigar we picked for the episode, and it's about the cigar that we're talking about. So why not make it about that?
The cigar. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, the folks that are listening may or may not enjoy the conversations that we have, or our thoughts on certain topics, but like, they can sit back, shut the podcast off,
and try the cigar.
Yeah, exactly.
Skip to the end, see our rating.
Yeah.
Compare it.
Fucking shit on us.
Don't do that, everybody. Listen to the whole thing. And don't forget to rate and review. And if you want to engage with the podcast, you can, of course, connect with us on all the socials. We are at Burnline Podcast, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, whatever the hell it's called nowadays. All of that stuff. And you can email us, burnlinepodcast@gmail.com. We've gotten a few emails, a few direct messages on Instagram. Thanks to you guys that have reached out. But this is your show. If you want us to address a specific topic or talk about a certain thing, please drop us a line, and we would be happy to answer your questions, take your ribbing or advice. We just want to get better and make this a better product for you. So thank you, everybody that is involved and engaged with your podcast. Burnline Podcast, uncommon cigar knowledge for the common person.
Burnline merch coming soon.
Burnline merch coming soon. And I will say that I'm like an inch in now. Great burn, by the way.
Yeah.
It's gotten stronger. So it is now singeing my nose hairs when I do the retrohale.
Rum?
Oh, yeah.
You want some rum?
Oh, yeah.
The rum's gone.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to do my Johnny Depp. How old were you when Pirates of the Caribbean came out? You don't have to answer that question, but you were not a kid.
45.
Yeah.
All right, so I have got this Brugal Doblemente Añejado 1888 Gran Reserva, and unfortunately, this is audio only because this is a beautiful bottle.
It is.
It looks like
dark.
a classic pirate bottle. You know, it's not like a fancy bottle. It's like the old-fashioned bottle.
Yeah.
You know?
No. I actually took like the shape of the bottle.
The shape of the bottle. Yeah. And
this
then,
isn't like an Angel's Envy type.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, this is just like the classic cylindrical.
Yeah.
Yep.
The fire hydrant bottle.
Right.
You know, and it's got gold text on the front. It's kind of funny because the front of the bottle almost looks like the back of a bottle. You know, it's got like a bunch of text and stuff.
Like all the disclaimers, kind of.
Yeah. And then on the back, there's just a tiny sticker that has like the, don't drink and drive shit on it. And then it is wrapped in a fishnet looking thing.
Yeah. So, all right. So I just, if I may, all right. So close your eyes.
Okay.
It's 1797, and you just pissed off the British government.
Okay.
And you're sailing the high seas now because you have no other choice.
Okay.
And all of a sudden you see something floating up to your ship, your boat.
Yep.
And it's a bottle, but the bottle got caught in something.
Yep.
Something got tangled up right around that bottle.
It's a fishing net.
It's a fishing net. But there's rum inside the bottle.
That's what this looks like.
Yes.
That is what this looks
Yep.
like.
It looks like it floated through the sea.
When you think of like a message in a bottle, what that bottle looks like, that's what this bottle looks like.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's got a black wax seal, so I'm pulling the tab on that, popping that open, and let's pull this stopper. It's a classic cork stopper with the wood top on it. Looks like plastic top. Sealed with that black wax. Pretty cool looking. All right. And let's go ahead and pour some of this delicious nectar of the gods out.
Oh, that's awesome. The thickness of the neck and the head of this bottle is also reminds me of
an old-fashioned bottle. Yep. Yeah. It pours great too. Like the bottle doesn't spill around and stuff.
Super dark. This rum is very dark.
This is a dark rum. And it's got legs, man. It's almost syrupy. All right. Mouth open, nose in. I'm not smelling much.
I know. It's really not odorous at all.
Yeah, it's a little flat. Like there's no where that alcohol like stabs you in the nose.
What ABV is this? Or
40%. So it's 80 proof.
is that
Standard.
Is that standard for
Standard
rum
filter.
as well?
Yeah,
No, it's
pretty much
standard
everything
for-
on the shelf, yeah. All right, let's go ahead and take a sip. Whoa. That's different. So, first of all, this is not sweet rum.
It is not. This is a lot to unpack. Mm-hmm. Jeez.
Wow. Okay, that's different. First time I've had this rum, by the way. And it is Dominican. This is the Dominican episode.
Dominican. Yeah, this is, wow, that's really interesting. It's almost as, you're right, there's absolutely no sweetness. And it kind of matches the same energy of the cigar with that
It's kind of weird. I wonder if these are going to clash.
It's very.
It reminds me. Yeah,
this rum is very meat and potatoes as well.
Yeah, like you're right. It matches the energy. Like, so I'm missing a lot of the like vanilla tones and stuff that you get in some rum. Definitely has more of a bitter side to it than a lot of rums. This reminds me of like if you had a dude that had molasses and said, "I'm going to make some fucking moonshine out of that."
Cool.
That's what he would. This is what he would make. Like this is like alcohol first,
but like only a little bit of molasses.
Well, like just like with brandy, it doesn't taste like wine. That's just what they use to ferment it out of, and it's the same with this. Like it was fermented from, but they're not trying to make it taste like molasses. They're trying to make it taste like liquor. Shockingly smooth.
It is. It really is.
It tastes like 40 proof.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you can't. There's no alcohol bite unless you like gulp it and then suck some air down your windpipe.
But it's also not watered down.
No, it's not.
Right.
And it's like syrupy. Look at the legs on it.
I know. Yeah. I'm with you. Oh my gosh.
Like that's
incredible.
Cabernet legs.
Yeah.
On that. Yeah. Is it? Did that turn to hail outside? Is it hailing now? I think it's hailing. Welcome to Pennsylvania. So what are we? Are we South Central? We're just south?
I think this is South Central.
Yeah.
I think so.
I mean, we're like, what, 2 hours from Philly? Philly's east.
2.5 from here to Philly, an hour and a half-ish to D.C.,
2 hours to Pittsburgh, 3 hours to Pittsburgh.
3 hours to Pittsburgh, hour and a half to Baltimore.
Yeah. So South Central. Yep. Beautiful. Beautiful. Mid-Atlantic region.
Something happened in this town.
4 normal seasons.
So I got this feeling that something happened in this town.
Gettysburg. Yeah. It's got like the weight of history about it. I don't know.
I'll
have to look that up online.
I heard someone walking by and they were saying something the other day about probably something unimportant.
I don't know. I guess some people fought here or something. I don't know. I'm sure it was of no consequence. Had no bearing on world history whatsoever. Okay, so we've got this rum. I mean, it kind of sucks because I want to do these separate. Like, I want an episode on the rum because it's so interesting. I mean, there's just a lot to unpack in the rum.
So talk to me about what happens right when you open the bottle versus like when you get past the neck, because I've heard that discussion kind of thrown around where it's like it changes a little bit, like when the oxygen gets in there and mixes with
So here's my take on that, and I want to be as charitable as possible. I am really I'm in this business to help other people maximize their enjoyment of vice, right? Cigars are awesome, and we try to be approachable to everybody. We're not snobby, and we make a point of not being snobby. But we do have taste, right? And fairly well-developed palates. I also cook quite well, actually. I'll make a Wellington for Christmas. You'll love it. And so my palate's fairly well-developed. And so the short version is I can call bullshit on a lot of bullshit in these industries.
Yeah.
I taste notes of the moon landing combined with Mercury in retrograde. It's like, no, you're smelling smoke, you fucking asshole. So to me, it's similar with the whiskey discussion where, yes, sometimes I'll open a bottle and as it breathes, I guess, the alcohol starts to evaporate.
Yeah.
And it collects above the whiskey under the stopper. Okay. And can slightly change your perception and experience. But it's not enough to me to be meaningful.
I gotcha.
Right? It's kind of like the difference between if you have a Keurig versus a automatic drip coffee. Is there a difference? Yes. Like I can taste a difference, but it's not enough to be meaningful. Like the difference between an automatic drip coffee and a pour over. That's a meaningful difference. Right. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep. It sure does. I I was just mostly curious. I've heard people reference that before, and I had one experience where it was a bottle of pretty well-known bourbon, and I opened it, and it was like not great to me immediately in that moment, and then 3-4 weeks later, like I went back to it, and I enjoyed it a lot more.
And my taste buds had changed.
Well, I think that like mood is a big thing too.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. So,
well, I'll say this about this bottle. To be fair, this is cold, right? This is probably 65 degrees, right? So I'm holding mine in my hand. I'm going to absorb some warmth through my hand.
Yeah.
See if that opens up, some spice and stuff. That's what you do with brandy, and it does make a difference. I don't use a brandy warmer. I just use, my glasses are designed to absorb the heat from the hand. And that might make a difference. If you warm up rum, it does taste different. So,
is it supposed to be served room temperature?
Rum?
Yeah.
I mean, historically, like with most of your whiskeys, you know how it's supposed to be served based on when it was made or invented, right? Because of what they had. So Scotch, for example, they'll tell you put a few drops of cold water in it if you need to. Why? Well, they didn't have an ice trade, but they did have fucking cold rivers in Scotland.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. And so when they were first inventing it, it was around what they had.
Right.
Now you get to bourbon, they had a booming ice trade at the time. And so when they first came out with these recipes, a lot of them were designed to put on rocks, right? Bourbon in general serves over rocks much better than a Scotch does. With rum, there was no ice. It was the fucking Caribbean,
Yeah.
And so, it's typically...
Put some salt water in there.
Yeah. It's typically like warm is kind of where the taste wheel is.
I mean, it's a climate that it was invented in, and
right.
We're not throwing it in the refrigerator here. Yeah, I got you.
So you can experiment with, any whiskey, but that's what I've found to hold pretty true. So we'll warm this up a bit. And why don't we go ahead and do a pairing?
I want to do the smoke shot.
Smoke shot, smoke?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We ready?
Yeah, this is... I don't know how many more of these I have left in me.
So our two main methods of pairing cigars and liquor is to sort of take a little puff, enjoy the smoke, then take a little sip, enjoy the whiskey, maybe take another puff, see how they interact. The other, which we're doing today, is we can take a big mouthful of smoke. We're going to try to not exhale it, and then slam a shot of whiskey and take the smoke and whiskey down. And dramatically different, right? When you tried the two?
This is rum.
Rum,
Yeah.
Whatever, alcohol, liquor.
Shit.
Yeah. Whiskey, rum, what's the difference? Really? After a couple of shots.
We have taste, we promise.
You should listen to us. We're very important and knowledgeable. But yeah, so we're going to take this rum and we're going to do the shot slam. All right, you ready?
I think this is a hard one too, because you have to be careful where you put the smoke, because the smoke you could very easily swallow the smoke as well.
Oh yeah, I tried to.
Do you?
I do.
Oh,
I tried to. I'm like, I'm going to fucking eat this cigar.
All right,
here we go. Woo! Look at the cigar smoke coming out of the rum glass.
I love it.
That is fucking amazing. Whew. Well, that woke the rum up fast.
Yeah. Didn't get any more sweetness out of it.
Nope.
But like super barrel-y to me.
Yeah.
Very
barrely.
Yeah.
Very oaky. This is finished in sherry casks, French sherry casks. They're like regular sherry casks, but they have a funny accent. Spice, like allspice, cloves, that sort of spice.
Yeah, 100%.
Woke that up real fast. That was actually pretty good. So I think this is an interesting pairing because, first of all, I would like to try pairing this with a sweet rum.
Okay.
To complement. Because the cigar is not super sweet, right? But these are like Bonnie and Clyde. Like the rum and the cigar, like you said, have the same energy. And I think that's a great description.
Yeah.
Right? So the pairing is super interesting because it's like a double espresso. It's just like more of the same goodness, You know what I
It's
mean?
like two sarcastic bastards hanging out.
Yes.
Like, it's
Yeah. Yeah. You don't compliment each other. You just get more sarcastic.
Right.
You know?
Which one's gonna break first?
Right.
All right, let me get your glass. Do you want to finish that?
Yeah.
This one's a little bit sweet.
Briny Gold Shipwreck. Spiced rum. Hell yes. And this is says St. Kitts, West Indies. So we paired the Brugal 1888 with this because it's a Dominican rum. And after the break, we will talk about Dominican cigar tobacco and the Dominican Republic. Now we are going to try this with a different rum that is from the West Indies and see how that works out for us. Now, this is 36% alcohol by volume. So, kind of interesting. It's only 72 proof. So, I wasn't aware that you could even sell liquor that was less than 80 proof. I'm pretty sure, like, legally, to be called whiskey, you have to be 80 proof. But I don't know if there's rules about rum.
I like this one a lot. This one just is one that I had in the house. It was given to me by someone just to try. And I ended up enjoying it a lot.
That's good.
It's super light looking.
Yeah. Much lighter than the 1888.
That one is very dark. The 1888 is very dark.
Probably from sitting in those barrels for that long.
All right, I'm going to do a small sip.
Yeah, let's do a small sip. Yeah, that's that sweet vanilla, getting drunk in college rum, for sure.
Yeah, but it's not, don't do that. It's not like that.
Okay, but you got to admit,
It's good.
I don't know, times have changed. When I was in college, sweet drinks were like really popular, like sweet liquor.
Should we tell them about the awesome interaction I had last night with Mr. Mickey's?
Are you talking about dropping Jolly Ranchers into Zimas?
No.
Chicks?
No. Is that what he said?
Yes. But that is exactly what we would do in college.
100%, 100%.
It was all sweet alcohol.
Like jungle juice. Like you just kind of cut up a bunch of fruit or put a bunch of frozen fruit in a vat.
In a cooler.
Igloo cooler, right?
Yeah. Drop cheap vodka in there.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
No, I like this rum. I think the 1888 is definitely, you're right, it's definitely of a higher quality.
Yeah. No, I wasn't putting down this rum. More just commenting like it's classic sweet rum. Like, when you want a sweet alcoholic drink, this is what you're thinking of. It's got the vanilla, the caramel, and it's sweet. The Brugal is not. It's just not sweet.
I think like a rum and Coke with the one that we have in our glasses now would be probably good, but maybe I'd be scared that it'd be too sweet.
Maybe too sweet.
Yeah, I'd be scared. That's interesting. I'm gonna do the puff shot.
Yeah, let's do a puff shot. I'm gonna do puff sip puff.
Go for it.
On this sweet one.
You're the man. We don't want a blackened part 2.
Oh God.
Not in my house.
Yeah. Do you have something for me to puke in just in case?
That's why we're outside adjacent.
Right. We're not actually in the manor. Okay, so interestingly, I'm not sure this pairs very well.
Really?
I'm interested in to hear your thoughts.
Nice.
Yeah. So for me, the rum is too sweet, and it makes the cigar taste bitter. So that's kind of the experience I had. Without the sweetness of the rum, the cigar is not sweet, but it's not really bitter. It's like spicy, earthy. It's got like nuts, a little bit of cocoa powder.
100% too sweet. Way too sweet. 1000%. There's no pairing this. There's no.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep, this is too sweet.
Fascinating.
If you have a sweet tooth and you want to smoke an acid or a deadwood with this rum,
Yeah.
go for it.
Yeah.
But that's going to be sweet central.
Yeah.
But this is not. Yeah, I'm with you. All right, we found out.
Yeah, tried that one. So interesting.
Yeah, weirdly enough, like this cigar goes better with something that is
In its orbit.
yeah
Adjacent.
rather than opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. And that's why we do these pairings, suffering through the vices so that you don't have to. And with that, I think it is time for a break. Don't go away. Keep your dial locked into Burnline Podcast. We will be right back. And we are back on Burnline Podcast. You are listening to the dulcet tones of Johnny Midas and Nick the Brick McCann. So we wanted to talk about the Dominican Republic and growing tobacco there. So in terms of export volume, Nicaragua is number one. Dominican Republic is number two. A lot of people think that Dominican Republic is, where some of the best cigars in the world come from. And with good reason. They've got Davidoff and
Fuente.
La Galera, like we talked about. La Aurora is the oldest factory in the Dominican.
Yep.
Altadis has a outpost there.
And they were the first stop.
Exactly.
When, the exodus happened from Cuba.
Right.
Got in the game early. So we had talked about Nicaragua a few episodes back and some regions and valleys, and they've done really good, I think, with the marketing around that. Dominican Republic is a little bit different. So for starters, the Dominican Republic is an island or half an island, and it is 500 miles away from Cuba, which is not that far. I mean, it's far enough. Like 500 miles from here, you're in like the frozen north or like the hot south, so
Yeah, Georgia.
yeah, like it's not that close, but it's not due east of Cuba. It's southeast.
Well, and the thing is, a lot of the land, air quoting land between Cuba and the Dominican Republic is not land.
Right.
It's like it's an ocean.
It's water.
Yeah.
So, but the point is, it's kind of close. So if you were going to pick a place to relocate, you might pick Dominican Republic. It's got it's an island. It's similar latitude. Latitude is important for growing.
Yeah.
You've got the same influence from the ocean and the salt spray and stuff like that. So that's the Dominican Republic, and I love that ash on your cigar. What is that? 1.5 inches long?
Yeah, I mean, my MO. I don't.
Yeah, you haven't ashed yet.
It's getting to the first band, the secondary band, but the bottom-most band.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these growers too, they rely on valleys,
Mm-hmm.
And mountains surrounding valleys, and then the valleys themselves. The valleys they kind of end up as
microbiome.
yeah.
Yeah.
The valleys kind of end up as mineral deposits.
Yep.
For it's really conducive for growing, rich crops, whatever it may be. Especially when the rain falls, kind of all the minerals come down from the mountains, and so the Dominican fits that bill as well.
Right. So unlike Nicaragua, the Dominican Republic really only has one valley tobacco region, which is the Chibao or Cibao Valley. I've heard it pronounced both ways. And then within that is a sub-valley, the Yaque Valley, which is where a lot of your premium tobacco comes from. And then the way that it's kind of different from Nicaragua is there's a lot of tobacco villages in the valley, and they all have unique characteristics. Now, it's unclear if the villages started first and then the growing, or if they found a place where they really liked the crops and started a village around it. But there's Villa Gonzalez, Navarrete, Jacagua. These are some of the villages where the tobacco grown around them is different from the next village, right? So the layout and logistics is a little bit different from Nicaragua, where the different valleys and regions are famous for their differences. In this one, it's kind of all one valley, but within the valley, apparently different alluvial deposits created different growing conditions. And then, of course, that is taken advantage of by cigar growers and scientists who, develop and hybridize seeds to take advantage of the soil being used, etc.
Match the environment.
Yeah.
I mean, if the soil is magnesium rich, you don't want to plant a tobacco there that's magnesium adverse.
Mm-hmm.
Just as an example. It's not a good example, but it is an example.
Right. Yeah. Yep. So this is probably why Dominican Republic still basically doesn't produce wrapper leaves. It's really all one valley. There's some differences, but they're not enough to sort of overcome the natural tendencies of the soil on the island and the natural climate of the one valley. So shout out to Fuente and Opus X for developing a Dominican puro, Dominican wrapper, because apparently it's very, very hard to do.
Yeah. As evidenced by the amount of Dominican wrappers in the industry and in the market.
Right.
Close to zero.
And, of course, this Dominican and Nicaraguan blend has a Brazilian wrapper.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, they just said nope.
yeah.
We're not even going to try.
We're not even going to try.
Which is, I mean, that's great. I think, don't force it if it's not.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not there, don't force it. And, the binder and the fillers are equally as excellent.
Right.
But obviously the wrapper's the leaf that gets... The wrapper's the quarterback, and the binder and the filler are the linemen.
Right. Yeah, and also, the way the industry works, there's some vertical integration, but for the most part, you have farms that grow tobacco, and then, they're selling tobacco to cigar makers. So if your farm is great at producing binder and filler, that's what you're going to produce. The amount of effort and money and time that it takes to develop a good wrapper leaf when you could just get it somewhere else, is cost prohibitive. Why the Opus X is expensive, one reason why it's expensive, right? So, I mean, that's kind of it. I mean, I could go into Dominican Republic a little bit more, talk about some of the anchor towns and stuff like that. But from a cigar consumer standpoint and being knowledgeable about where your tobacco comes from, it's basically one valley, and the sub-valley of Yaque is, the hot spot for premium tobacco. And that's why Dominican tobacco is different from Nicaragua.
And the Dominican is really... If you want to get your toes wet in, I'll call it tobacco tourism, Dominican is the place to start.
Yeah.
Going to Central America is a little more advanced.
Yeah.
You're going much further away. You're landlocked there. But the Dominican is kind of that entry level, like flying to Santiago, or Santo Domingo and travel to, the myriad of great factories and great places down there that they have. I forgot to mention DBL. DBL is an awesome factory that, Francisco obviously is Dominican based. But I also hear a lot of folks that have gone to the Dominican, they say like on every corner, someone's rolling a cigar.
Right.
Especially in the highly populated areas, which is another awesome thing. Because I guess at the end of the day, when we get the cigar product right in the box that comes from, through the port of Miami and then shipped up to, whatever warehouse and then shipped out to the distributor and then shipped to your house or shipped to your retailer and then from your retailer to you, but these guys they harvested the tobacco and it's moving a couple miles from harvest to roll and they're rolling it, right then and there. And it's super fresh. It's just a different experience.
Right. Now, from a geography standpoint, Cuba's land mass is a little bit larger than Nicaragua. The cigar growing regions in Cuba are smaller than the cigar regions in Nicaragua, and Dominican Republic is smaller than both, and the tobacco growing region is smaller than both. If you're not familiar with your map, I would encourage you to look at it, but you've got Florida that sticks out at the bottom of the U.S., right? So south of Florida is Cuba, and it's surprisingly large. It's skinny.
Like 90 miles off
Yeah.
the tip of Key West or whatever.
Yeah.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
it's long and skinny. So it's like half as wide as Florida, but like almost as long. to the right, just 40 miles away or whatever, is Haiti, which is the other half of Dominican Republic.
Yeah, so they're on the same island.
Same island,
and it's kind of split. It's split almost down the middle.
Yeah,
where Haiti inhabits the left.
Yeah, the western.
Yes, and Dominican Republic inhabits the eastern side.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then again, traveling basically south by southeast is Puerto Rico, and Jamaica is due south of Cuba. So, and then the Bahamas is a string of islands that kind of goes from the southwest tip of Florida, almost due southwest chain of islands, almost to the Dominican Republic. So look it up on a map if you're interested. It's pretty cool. And then, so here you can see like Nicaragua and Dominican Republic like next to each other on the map. So that one is Nicaragua, the one with the big lake in it, like we talked about. So you can see it's a lot bigger than the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, yeah. Which is, I mean, it's gonna yield more surface area to grow tobacco.
Yeah, and the three main regions of Nicaragua are really significantly different. Whereas in the Dominican Republic, you kind of only have one region. It's just nuance at that point.
Sure.
But Dominican Republic continues to produce some of the best tobacco in the world and great cigars made with Dominican tobacco. And of course, you have Fuente, probably my favorite cigar. And you've got Davidoff, who's, that's a famous high-end cigar. They're both Dominican companies.
Yep.
And some other great cigars. DBL is headquartered in Dominican Republic. And then just a reminder that your Dominican cigar companies, they're not making puros, just like the Nicaraguans and everything else. So there is that whole structure of the industry thing where you got growers and you've got the fermenters and agers and the barns and all of that. And then you have the rollers and the factories, and tobacco changes hands and travels across ocean and all of that stuff. So.
Yeah, and I think that's why those folks that are rolling tobacco, in the major cities of Santiago and Santo Domingo, I don't know. I'm hard pressed to think that they imported that from Nicaragua. Like, I'm pretty sure they just took it from the curing barn,
right,
30 miles away,
right,
and brought it to the the town square and is rolling that. And I think that's why that is such a unique experience.
Yeah.
To get that kind of firsthand, didn't have to go through any customs or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like that. Like, this is, I'm smoking the cigar on the island it was grown in.
Right.
Yeah. It's pretty freaking cool.
And while we're on the topic, if you go to Dominican Republic, there's plenty of Dominican puros that are like not retail production cigars where the locals are just rolling up tobacco and smoking it. And so if you go there on tobacco tourism, definitely try that stuff. Try what the locals are smoking and stuff. Some of it is really interesting. Some of it is really not very good. But it's always interesting. So, all right. How about cigar news? Have we got any news this week? Nicholas McCann, CRT. Cigar news. Here is your host, Nicholas McCann.
We do have some. It's mostly new releases and shipping news. Ferry Otego, which we have an episode about.
Yep.
Is shipping their annual release, the Elegancia and the Generoso, later this month, which is awesome. The Generoso is strong, sun-grown Habano looking wrapper, and the Elegancia is a very nice, creamy Connecticut. So 2 really good cigars. All Saints shipped the Solamente, which is a new blend for them that just shipped.
Yeah, the All Saints, they've got the St. Francis. That one was pretty good.
Yeah, All Saints is good. And we also talked about them because in another news a couple months ago, because Mickey Pegg went to McAuliffe. Mm-hmm. And so All Saints and McAuliffe entered into an agreement. HVC Black Friday 2023, shipping later this month, getting ready for
Black Friday.
That awesome American holiday, Black Friday.
It's not nearly as dark as it sounds.
Yeah. It sounds like a Black Friday of 1898.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oh God, what happened?
No, it got its name because traditionally that's when retailers enter the black in their red sheet. So in your books, if you're a retailer, you're in the red up until like Thanksgiving, and then you're making money, which totally sucks.
Yeah.
Hashtag late stage capitalism.
Yeah.
So that's why it's Black Friday. You're in the black ink. In other words, you're making money now. So
Artificial money made by
Yeah.
artificial holidays.
right,
Yeah.
and the holiday in the U.S. is basically all the retailers put stuff on sale.
Mm-hmm.
So I read a pretty good article. I basically read like independent news and stuff to get sort of real information. And there's a couple of good ones in the finance and economics sector. And they were talking about how the SEC is actually investigating Amazon because the majority of their retailers, so not everybody that's on Amazon is Amazon. People can sell on Amazon.
Yeah.
The majority of them are marking their prices up somewhere like 30% in the month prior to Black Friday, and then they're dropping the sale price down
Oh.
like above where it was before.
Right.
So it looks like it's on sale, but inflation's hitting everybody. So
Yeah, I mean that's always an interesting phenomenon, right? Where like, you see the big discount rack, but it's like, all right, I know they say it's discounted, but are they really just selling it for what they would have sold it for anyway?
Right. Well, this particular publication tracks prices over time, and so they can just show you the graph and be
Yeah.
like, "This is bullshit."
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Aladino shipped a new Sumatran blend.
nice.
Just kind of a non-legal news week, just a bunch of kind of
Yeah.
new cigars shipping out. So
Not a fan of Sumatran tobacco, but that's just me. All right. So thank you for that cigar news. I think it is time to rank this cigar, and it burns surprisingly long. What are we, halfway done with it?
This was a slow burn, man.
Yeah, for a 5x50, I mean, you're getting an hour and a half smoke, it looks like, out of this thing, which is pretty cool. So I think final tasting notes, it definitely got spicier. The retrohale is a little more intrusive at this point, but still like earth, a little caramel, but not sweet caramel, nuts, cocoa powder, that bitter side, robust, bold flavors, and they work really well together.
Yeah.
It's a very cohesive flavor.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not like almost devoid of sweetness,
Yeah.
which is not a bad thing at all. But it's just a kind of an interesting, I don't know, juxtaposition because a lot of the rums are sweet, and a lot of the cigars we smoke we get sweet notes off of. But this one is it's not, but it's very appealing.
And paired interestingly with the Brugal 1888. Like I said, it was kind of more of the same. So amplification, not complementation. But the sweet rum just really clashed with it.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I would say whatever you're pairing, like black coffee pairs great with this.
Really good.
I think sweet coffee might not. For whatever reason, the sweetness in the rum just made the cigar taste like vegetable bitter to me. So there you go on the pairing notes. And I think it is time to rank this cigar. As usual, we are ranking presentation, price, construction, flavor, and experience on a scale of 1 to 10 for a final score of 0 to 50 to set ourselves apart from all of the 0 to 100 scales out there. Nick, we start with presentation. So what do you think about the presentation on this cigar?
I like the deep blue a lot, which we talked
Yeah.
about. The box is awesome. Really, I'm gonna take points off because of your interesting the note you made earlier about, well, if this is a San Lotano, why do we need to put AJ's name on it?
Right.
This is
Right.
this is an AJ core line product,
Yeah. It better be AJ.
right? Either every cigar that AJ makes has AJ's name on it, or none of them do.
Or the other cigars don't have AJ. Well, to be fair, the secondary band always says AJ on it.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think to note the collaboration is interesting. It's cool. AJ and Ho Chi. If you're not like in the in the know.
It kind of doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Obviously, AJ's kind of a few tiers ahead of Hochi in terms of popularity and notoriety.
Also, Hochi is spelled with a J.
Yes.
So I can imagine plenty of people rolling into the shop like, who's this AJ Jochi guy? You know?
Yep. Which makes it hard to identify.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I liked it. I'll give it an 8.
8 from Nick. I've got a 9 for presentation. I think the box is gorgeous, just drop dead gorgeous. And for a cigar that retails for $8.50 is the MSRP on this 5x50 Robusto, I don't expect that level of attention to be put into the box. The band as well, gorgeous. And the cigar itself, really interesting looking. Grabs your attention. It's good looking. There's nothing that like stands out about it where you're like, oh, wait, what? That's different. But it's also not just plain and ignorable. I love the texture. It's got that sort of fuzzy texture that you associate with high-end cigars. And that's why I've given it a 9. So
I think there's also good continuity with the other San Lotano designs and branding.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, it fits in. It stands out with that blue. It's a new color, but it fits in as well. So, all right, how about price at $8.50 for this 5x50 Robusto that we're an hour into the podcast and we're only halfway done with the cigar?
Pretty incredible, actually. I give it a 9. I mean, this is just a knockout. This is, a couple of steps away from being a proverbial budget cigar.
Yeah, agree.
With the quality of a high end AJ blend.
Yep, I'm with you on that. I've got a 9 as well. Great price. You can't. I mean, $8.50, and I think maybe you might look at it and be like, well, it's a 5x50, but it's kind of a slow burner. You know, so you're getting a ton of enjoyment out of it as well. So on the value side, I mean, I'm kind of trying to find the reasons not to give it a 10.
And there are plenty of $12.50 Robustos out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a high quality cigar.
But I will commend AJ because his core line stuff is super generously priced.
Yes, it's very affordable
For his publicity and popularity. He could.
He's a good blender. His cigars are good.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Yeah, he could charge more.
Yeah, pound for pound, one of the most well-known names in the industry.
Yeah.
And could definitely leverage that into a...
Don't do it, AJ. Yeah. I know you listen to our podcast. Don't do it. Yeah. Yeah, great value there. All right, how about construction? What have you got there?
Really good. Really, really good. I mean, incredible burn kind of the whole way through. You saw the ash that was...
2 inches.
Borderline close to halfway.
Yeah.
Through the cigar. I got to the bottommost band, was able to take it off, and the ash was still on.
Right.
From initial light.
Right.
I love stuff like that. A little bit flaky, but just kind of a byproduct of the cigar itself. 9.
Yep, that's fair. I've got a 9 as well, and you can see I've got a little wrinkle in the cap right there. Not a big deal. Yeah. The burn line is not like ecstatic. It's burning, and it burns very well. I would like a little cleaner burn line on it, but I'm really picking at straws here. So I've got a 9 on construction. Hard to beat. Can't be dissatisfied with it.
Yeah.
And that brings us to flavor. So interesting flavor on this one. What are your thoughts there?
Really interesting flavor. We touched on a lot of the notes regarding the flavor, and we touched on, kind of how it paired with 2 vastly different rum pairings. And I was kind of surprised at the sweet one, even though you called it out before we even tried the sweet one. But the sweet one contrasted it way more than the one that was similar.
Yeah.
So the flavor was just very. I think this is an afternoon smoke. I don't think this is, in my opinion, I don't think this is bold enough to be like an after steak dinner.
Right.
But I think this is like if you have like a, your favorite deli sandwich.
And I think it's too strong for a breakfast smoke too.
As we sit here.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't smoke this before breakfast.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like if you're going to wait, to have a cigar until after lunch, right? You eat like a nice Reuben or a ham and salami sandwich or whatever, Yeah, that afternoon smoke, I think after lunch is a really perfect spot for it.
So, flavor rating.
7.
All right, 7 from Nick on flavor. I've got a 7 as well. Good flavor, but also very niche, I think. It's not going to be in everybody's wheelhouse. It doesn't pair well, I don't think. I think you got to be intentional about it. So maybe less, robust than some other cigars could be. That being said, I've smoked damn near a box of them. Like as a standalone cigar, it's a great smoke. So just be aware that, my personal palate, like I'm not a big fan of sweet. I am a big fan of bitter. And there's no sweetness on the cigar, so it's not going to be for everybody. And experience. And I think so if we talk about use case with this, like I think it's strong enough. I'm not doing other stuff with it. It's definitely it's affordable, but it's not a dog walker. I wouldn't probably take it fishing, and I'm not going to do any yard work. I don't want to be exercising. It's not super heavy, but it's strong enough.
But it's so bizarre too because of the price.
Yeah. It's so approachable. It's so affordable.
Right. And so like you think about, all right, what can I smoke while I'm doing other things? And like the first kind of thing you think about is, all right, what price range does this fit into? And this cigar fits into that price range.
I might smoke it while I was like barbecuing or something. But I would just peg this as a solid lounge cigar. Like this is a cigar you're going to smoke and enjoy.
Yeah.
Yep. It's not a celebration cigar, anything like that. But it's an affordable daily smoke where you can go into the lounge. But I would really want to smoke this like in a lounge environment. Someplace where I can kind of focus on the cigar, not let it overpower me because it does sneak up on you. It definitely got stronger, as it burned down.
I think like in terms of the quantity on hand, which obviously like Opus quantity on hand is like going to be very, very low, But this one you can keep your quantity on hand pretty high, because of the price. And so this is might be a cigar that you smoke when you don't know what else to smoke.
Yeah, and it's not a cigar that I would share first thing either, unless the other person was like a veteran cigar smoker, because of its flavor profile and strength. So some limited use case there. So what do you think for experience?
7.
7?
Yeah.
I've got a 7 as well. So we're on the same wavelength there. Solid experience. Some limits to its use case. It's in that strength spot where you have to be a little careful, but it's also not like super strong, like you said, post steak dinner, type of thing. So, and that comes out to a final score of 40 for the San Lotano Dominicano AJ and Hochi collaboration, 5x50 Robusto with an MSRP of $8.50. This cigar has a Brazilian Cuban seed wrapper, a Dominican binder, and fillers from Nicaragua and Dominican Republic. All of the Nicaraguan tobaccos from AJ's farms, and all of the Dominican tobaccos from Hochi's farms. And the cigar is made in Hochi's Dominican factory. And I guess, it's Jockey Blanco, and we should probably mention no relation to Dave Blanco of Blanco Cigars. Just has the same last name.
Yeah, no obvious relation. I mean, there might be a backdoor.
Yeah, I mean,
something or other, some bloodlines shared, but
my grandmother is Scott. That's her surname, and I am related to Sir Walter Scott, but not in any meaningful way. So
right.
There may be some connection there, but nothing obvious.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, it's not. This isn't Dave Blanco's brother.
Yes, exactly. So if you were curious about that. So that is it for this episode. The San Lotano Dominicano by AJ Fernandez came out with a score of 40. Great smoke. And we paired it with the Brugal 1888, a Dominican rum, and talked a little bit about the Dominican Republic tobacco growing and cigar industry. Thank you for joining us today on Burnline Podcast. We hope that we have inspired, informed, and suffered through some cigars and liquor so that you don't have to take the brunt of that. Thanks for joining us on Burnline Podcast. We will see you again next week.